What's going on, everyone? We got an interesting video here by RGT. His headline obviously is one of those scripted headlines that you see a lot of channels do. So obviously you're not going to see that as being the main topic of what he's talking about, but more about as a console gamer, how he may be interested in Steam Machine because it's going to bring the experience closer to a console-like experience. Like he loves Nintendo, but he's interested and Steam Machine being more like a console-like experience, and he has a Steam account, but he's not really big on all that customization and all that. So he wants to get right to it. And then he's a little bit worried about the Steam Machine price. So let's see what RGT has to say here. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. Here we go.
Want to have a conversation about the Steam Machine, because when this was first announced and first sort of showcased, I was someone who was definitely more positive about it than some other people were, because I saw something that, while maybe not having super mass appeal, could do something that I've kind of always wanted, and that's kind of making Steam games and PC gaming easier for someone who prefers consoles.
Yeah, I know what he means. And that's the thing. And I think that's what Valve was trying to do. Because if you're approaching that living room and you've been watching Nintendo for a while, because they watch them more than anything, it seems. They look at PlayStation 2, of course, and obviously they have to know about Xbox. You're looking to reach that audience too, to bring them into the Steam ecosystem. You see? And I don't think the Steam Machine is just going to be the only model. I think they will make like a pro model or something like that, which I think they should do, just to be able to compete with other stuff in the future too, which is going to be needed. But it's more about attracting a console player to something that appears like a console, with Xbox dying off and taking that spot.
I have a Steam account. I have some games in that Steam account, and I've played games on my computer when, something comes along where somebody wants me to showcase off a game, but they send me a PC code and stuff like that. So it's not like I haven't played games on PC before. I just prefer consoles. I prefer not having to tinker with different settings and having to adjust different settings based on the style of computer I have, how much RAM it has, how much this, that, or the other, what the GPU is. The simplicity of console gaming is very attractive to me, and I understand.
So you see what he just said. There's people that are like that, and there's still the large majority of the gaming industry that is like that. And it's not like it's a problem for him. He has 530K subs. I mean, he probably makes, easily almost six figures on YouTube, and he's made a ton of money. So it's definitely not price. When you think about that, he's not talking about budget or anything, because he has the money. I mean, his videos blow up all the time. He's making bank. So it's more about him being genuinely honest about, no, I just prefer plug and play console gaming. And he's a Nintendo guy. He likes Nintendo the most. I like Nintendo the most, but I also always enjoy all the other platforms as well, because I want to be able to have access to as many games as possible. It's about the games more than anything else. And if I can't get the game there, then what do you want me to do? To sit there and twiddle my thumb and imagine it's going to happen? It's like, no, you know what I mean? But the cool thing with the Steam Machine is that it's going to come with a console-like experience, but have the PC customization in it, and it's not going to be Windows 11. It's going to be Linux, which is actually attractive. That's one thing I like about the PlayStation 5 more than anything, or PlayStation in general, if y'all didn't know that. Same thing with Nintendo. They don't have Windows in there. They have their own operating system, and they're not AI feeding. So I understand what he means when he says that he wants that type of experience.
Understand why there's people out there that want to be able to hone things and dial it in based on their rigs when they have expensive computer rigs. Like, it makes sense. I'm not saying I don't understand why PC gaming exists. I just kind of prefer console gaming. I enjoy the simplicity of it, and it's what I've grown up using. And
same.
When the Steam Machine was first unveiled, I was kind of like, this is cool. Yeah. This is something that I can kind of rock with here. The Steam Deck is pretty neat in the fact that you have the Steam Deck verified games, and that game will work on the Steam Deck. And it did a decent job of kind of bridging portability with Steam and being able to access your Steam game library. But making it a console definitely makes it a lot more attractive. And it was something I was very excited for. It was something that I was definitely looking forward to. And I'm not saying that, it's going to be a catastrophic failure. I'm not saying that it's necessarily dead on arrival.
No, but it's not Steam's fault that this market is being pathetic with the AI feed and all this garbage affecting it. I don't like when stuff interferes with organic algorithms. It pisses me off because I would like to see natural results. I don't want to see nobody hating on nobody, trying to reduce nobody. All that stuff is loser stuff. I like to see honest, organic results with no interference because that's the actual truth. And every man should want to face the truth. You know what I mean? I don't like this stuff coming in, interfering, and then saying, oh, it may have to be 150, 200 more dollars. It may affect this. It's like, oh, man, that's annoying because I really want to see how well it would actually do. I don't want the Nintendo Switch to go up. I don't want the PlayStation 5 to go up. I don't want the Xbox to go up. None of that. I want to see how the natural results are, though we've most likely seen that in that spectrum. But the first Steam machine definitely failed. This one has a chance to do something that's actually good. That's not Windows 11. It's not AI heavy, and it could have been around $500-600. But no, we can't do that because of market conditions and all this other garbage. So it interferes with that. And like I said, that annoys me because I really like to see natural, organic results, and we're not going to be able to do that. And that's the annoying thing.
But the whole crux of my excitement for the Steam machine was kind of contingent on price. And I thought to myself, you know, there's no way that this is going to, like, the baseline model, the lower end model. There's no way it's going to cost, you know, potentially $1,000 or more. But Steam seemed to want to release this at quite possibly the worst possible time for doing.
But that's the thing. It's like, I think it was just natural. Like you would think just gaming prices go down. It's, you know, hey, it's ready. It's done. This is when it's done. And then it's the other stuff that's the problem, not the Steam machine. not everything else either. It's like, no, it's that garbage AI stuff. It's like, that's the problem. And the greed and the mass feeding and the decisions they choose to make with it when they already have way more money than enough. And the consumer does it, and they're dealing with problems way outside of that and other factors where they have to deal with on a daily basis, like you got to eat, but how expensive food is, you know what I mean? Gas, I mean, all that stuff, getting a home now, all that stuff, college tuitions if you're doing that, and just everything in general, living conditions, stuff you have to do. You don't have to get electronics, but you got to eat and do all that other stuff.
Anything computer related, when you look at, you know, the latest computer headlines and how, like, you know, GPUs and stuff like that are now like going backwards. They're reintroducing lower entry barrier systems that you can get for your PC as new, because the higher end stuff is now going to these AI data centers and stuff like that. Yet these quote unquote new pieces of hardware are still ridiculously expensive. And I guess a lot of people couldn't really foresee this happening with the Steam machine and this sudden rise of AI. But I think with this rise of AI, I think it's really going to hurt the Steam machine. You know, we are a couple of weeks into January.
True. Like, I mean, you can't say, oh, it's there. You know what I mean? It's Steam. They're so good. They're blowing up on the outside. Dude, that's an app, though. You don't have anything to sell. You just download the app and make an account and then buy stuff off the market. But when you're trying to come into the console-like experience and they're like, oh, sorry, you finally got something right this time. Let's just go ahead and force you to jack the price up by $150. Right? Or maybe $200 or something. Then it's just like, yeah, it's like, wow, really? You know what I mean? You can't tell me that doesn't put a dent into something. You can't tell me if the PlayStation 5 Pro was $600, that wouldn't even make a difference. If the Series X consoles were $200 cheaper, even $150, that would make a difference. Same thing with PlayStation. Same thing with the Switch starting off at $399, which I know originally that would have done that. But like Nintendo said, we had to make it $450 for market conditions. We went ahead and got that ahead of time. You see what I'm saying? That type of stuff makes a difference. That's all organic algorithm interference, and it's annoying. Everybody knows this. It really is.
And we haven't heard a single peep about the price of this beyond
something artificial.
You know, oh, well, it's kind of in line
That's not the organic.
with what you would expect from building a PC right now. And the thing of that is, the thing that terrifies me about that statement is yesterday's price is not today's price.
Right.
And today's price is not tomorrow's price. And I say that in many videos regarding technology, regarding video game consoles and stuff like that, because it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, you look at these graphs, you look at the price increases of stuff because, you know, companies aren't able to keep up with demand because of these AI data centers and all this sort of stuff. And it's clear as day, you know, day by day. It's not even week by week or month by month. It's literally day by day. These prices are going up. And when you see this, and when you see what pre-built PCs are now costing, when you see what building your own PC costs, which used to be a hell of a lot cheaper to do as long as you had the know-how, that terrifies me. Because I honestly think now we're looking at this system that probably should have been $500 to $600 for the low-end model, slipping in there with the current prices of consoles at least. I think we're looking at $800 to $900 to $1,000. I know that there was that I'm
thinking $700 and maybe $750 to $800, which kind of sucks. And like he said, see what I mean? It could have been this. It would have allowed it to sell millions or more. They would have built a bigger base. Why is that bad to add into more gaming with its own unique ecosystem, with its own identity and exclusive stuff, all that? You see what I mean? But no, let's just mess all that up too. Everything when it comes to anything of PC gaming, even the Steam machine, coming like a PC with a console-like experience, is being hammered to hell. Like, I mean, and they don't give a damn. All for this jugglement of AI. Like, I can't stand it. It is the most moronic thing I've ever seen. Like, there's nothing intelligent about this. When you think about what has always been the biggest industry in the world lately, the entertainment video game industry. You know how much money the video game industry has made? You know what I mean? You know how much the PC industry, and all of it is betrayed for this stupid ass goose chase. I can't stand it. Just want to, no, man, I'm not going to even say how I fully feel. Let me just go ahead and suppress that. Let's continue here though. But man, it's just annoying, guys. You guys know what I mean.
That Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia, if you're an old man, I didn't even know it was in Czechoslovakia anymore. Now it's the Czech Republic. But there was a Czech Republic leak, price leak that a bunch of people ran with and stuff like that. And like, if you literally just thought about that for a second and you thought to yourself, well, you know, Steam is selling these directly. Why would a random Czech Republic retailer know the price of this when they're probably not even going to be selling it? And why would Steam like go out of their way to be like, hey guys, you know, we haven't announced the price of this yet, but we got to get ahead of the curve for the Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic market. This is who we're targeting.
No, but that's the thing though. Like, everybody knows that guy in that place. They buy products, and you're not gonna buy products to sell it at the same price. You're losing money. Then you'll be paying tax. That's stupid. No, they're buying it and they're trying to jack the price up in hope that people pay for it so they can make constant profit consistently. They did the same thing with the Steam Deck and other products. So that automatically tells you that's not going to be $1,000. It's going to be 900 and under. Period. You know what I mean? I'm thinking more like 700 or 800 for the base model, and I hope they don't have to be forced to go to 800. I'm thinking 700 for the 512, and maybe like 850 or 900 for the 2 terabyte, because the SSDs are going to be ridiculous or something like that. So maybe that may be the ballpark, which if you think about specification wise, that is ridiculous. But hey, man, it's not Windows 11. And then there's people that are addicted to their profiles. We already talked about this before. I mean, I don't want none of this. I think the 2 terabyte should have been like 700 or 650 and the base model 550 or 600. You see what I mean? If the market conditions were not messed with at all, that would have been a lot better. Like 700 for that one and 500 for the other one, or like 550. Or something like that. That would have been nice, but no, we're not going to be able to get that.
In here, we need to let this retailer know. Like, the story made no sense when people ran with it, anyways. But I think the story does make sense in the context of, yes, this random ass retailer probably has no idea what the price is going to be, as far as a concrete thing from Steam themselves. But if you look at what Steam has told us, to expect this to be around the price of a pre-built PC, like, that's just logical thinking at this point in time.
700 minimum.
You know, this is supposed to come out in the first quarter of 2026, and we do not have a price for this yet.
Yeah, I know.
Why do we not have a price for this yet? Because they don't know the price.
Maybe.
They don't
I mean,
know the
maybe,
price in order to
maybe.
manufacture this. When you look at like what they're using for DDR RAM and stuff like that, that price is constantly fluctuating, going up. All of the components of the Steam machine are going up in price every single day. And yes, Steam could probably get it for cheaper directly from the manufacturers themselves, as long as they have a contract in play and they're doing bulk quantities of this. But is it even worth doing a bulk quantity of this? Is it worth it to them?
Guys, that's why I was hoping they had pre-stacked bulk. And then maybe after they have to do that. That's what I was saying. I hope they prepared.
To want to, spend a lot of money on this, because Steam makes ridiculous amounts of money. Everyone knows that. Like it's extremely profitable. And this is something that could help, make it a bit more accessible to people. But the problem is then you got to factor in the price.
Yeah.
And things like this really make me think about like the next Xbox. Because the next Xbox is going to do what the Steam machine does, but it's also going to be like a PC. It's also going to have Windows on it.
Ew.
Are you gonna be weaker than the Steam machine? I don't think so. I think you're gonna want to come in as a stronger alternative. And
I thought it was going to be significantly more powerful. But yeah, I know what he means. But this is more about the Steam machine. So like we get the idea of how he kind of feels about this. And I want you guys to let me know what you think down in the comments below. There's definitely some concerns and worries, and he's right. We haven't got any updates for them. This is just all us making content and then finding out stuff about this leak and all this other stuff going on. You know what I mean? So as a console gamer, what do you guys think? And as a PC gamer, what do you guys think about this video? And do you worry about it being more than $700? Do you worry about a delay? Do you worry about them launching it and there not being a Half-Life 3 as well? Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider here. So, yeah, later, y'all.